Welcome back to the Diesel Page. Henry Ford once said that a customer can have a car painted any color he wants as long as it's black. Unknown to old Henry, he just may be the one who would inspire the popular term murdered out. The term murdered out simply means that black is the vehicle's predominant color. Is black even a color? Now, back from the dead is another term used here because the Blazer sat for more than 11 years without an engine. This 1994 6.5-liter turbo diesel was truly dead. Its engine fell victim to performance programming, a lead foot, a big trailer, and no common sense. Seen here 3 years after getting the diesel Blazer back on the road, the engine continues to run very well, uses almost no oil between changes, and is a load of fun to drive. But take a step back in time with me to see what was required to bring the 6.5 back to life. Could we bring it back from the dead? My daughter asked me a few weeks into the summer of 2021. One day, while in the garage working on a couple other diesel projects, she looked over at the now dust-covered and forlorn-looking 1994 Chevy Blazer and asked what I was going to do with it. Long story short, the Blazer became hers, and we worked together through that early fall to bring it back to life. Her plans now? She now has a vehicle capable of hauling a kayak and allow some light camping with her friends. More video about that coming up. I owned this Blazer from 2000 till about 2004. Never thought I'd see it again till one day it turned up in our driveway in 2010 without an engine and on a trailer. The previous owner had disassembled the engine in preparation for a rebuild. Unfortunately, one of the crankshaft journals had been gouged while removing a rod. While the gouge doesn't look too bad, it would have required resizing that journal by 5 or 6 thousandths to remove it. I wasn't comfortable with that. I finally found a like new crankshaft at a local engine shop in 2017. A quick polish and $300 and it was ready for installation. Melted piston. This is what put or kept the Blazer in the shop for the past decade. The result of towing heavy, pushing hard, and not paying attention. This Blazer has a boost and an EGT gauge on the A-pillar that I installed back in about 2000 when I owned it the first time. But it wasn't enough to keep it safe. This is as bad as they get. The piston was so bad that it gouged the number 8 cylinder to a point to where we had to do something. And so the local machine shop installed a sleeve in number 8. I've ran a 6.5 prior to this one that had a sleeve in number 8, and it worked fine. We drove that truck for 300,000 miles and never had a problem with it. I don't expect to have a problem here. The machine shop did a great job. They also decked both block decks and did a great job otherwise. It was ready now for reinstallation. Next step, new cam bearings. All new cam bearings were installed. The crankshaft received all new main and rod bearings as well, and clearances were checked. They were all well within the correct tolerance of about 3 thousandths of an inch. We assembled using assembly lube, and all the bolts were torqued to specification. Here the pistons are laid out. They're all assembled and ready to be installed in the block. New pistons, new rings, new bearings. It's interesting to note here is my daughter was here for all of this. This is the first time she'd ever seen the inside of an engine, and she was able to learn a lot about it, and her enthusiasm was one of the things that kept me interested in the project. The original cylinder heads were not rebuildable due to severe cracking that had been caused by the extreme combustion temperatures. Replacement cylinder heads were hard to come by. I eventually bought a set of rebuildable small port GM heads in 2017 that were rebuildable. Shown here, one of the heads needed a new exhaust valve, and each head received a valve job. And they were bead blasted, crack checked, vacuum tested, and pressure tested. I had supplied the shop with new Felpro valve stem seals and O-rings. The deck surfaces didn't need to be machined. I used my flat steel block and wet, dry sandpaper to dress them like I did the Duramax heads and blocks. So with the heads back from the machine shop, another big snag had been resolved and the project could move forward. These are the Felpro 9701 PT head gaskets. These are the ones I recommend. They are the only ones I recommend. And I also recommend you use their brand new TTY torque to yield head bolts. We've used this set of head gaskets and head bolts on several engines, and we've never had a problem with any of them. Torque to yield head bolts require a final angle of the wrench during installation, and here you just use a simple cardboard template with lines drawn on it indicating your 90-degree turns. So this is a very easy step. You can see here that I installed new plastic rocker arm locating pins. These are easy to install, they're not very expensive, and it's recommended that you replace them anytime you're inside the engine. Here you can see that the engine is nearly ready to go back into the Blazer. Everything had been installed, the oil had been added to the engine, and the oiling system had been primed. Of note in this picture, you can see that we installed a Fluidampr on in place of the original harmonic damper. I had this on hand, and now is the time to use it. Here I am sitting in the engine compartment. The various wiring harnesses and hoses and other details needed to be repaired or cleaned in some way. I also power washed all of the area to make it clean and nice before the engine went in. And this only took about an hour or so, but my daughter helped me here. It really was a big day. As you heard, there were actually hoots and hollers. My daughter and I had a good time with that first startup, but you could tell what it was running like was still air in the fuel injection system, and the hydraulic roller valve lifters were not fully pumped up, having sat in a box on a towel for more than 10 years. But it was a good day. The engine ran, it ran pretty well, but the injectors were still a problem. I didn't replace the injectors initially before the engine went in because maybe I wasn't as confident as I should have been, but the engine did perform well, and over the next week or so we installed a new set of injectors. The number 8 injector, the original number 8 injector had been leaking fuel, and it caused it to run rough and also produce more smoke. But the new set of injectors changed all that, so we're certainly happy about that. Changing the injectors on the passenger side of the engine requires that you remove the turbocharger. So you can remove this plate here that protects the injectors and the fuel lines from excessive heat from the turbo. It's not that big a problem removing the injectors once you get the turbo out of the way, but then this was a fresh installation, so all the bolts and hardware were pretty easy to get to, and they came apart easily. This is what the engine installation looked like after everything had been installed and everything buttoned up, the hood back on. Everything was as it was, nearly as it left the factory. It's amazing when you think about it how well it runs, and also the fact that there's no check engine light. After sitting in 1,000 pieces for 11 years and having it all go back together, it was a pretty amazing project. The 1994 Chevy Blazer is quite comfortable inside. The seats are comfortable. You can ride in it all day long and not have a sore butt. Everything in this Blazer functions. This particular Blazer was taken care of by its previous owners and not abused inside anyway. So and we're happy about that. Everything functions. Air conditioning, everything functions. The back seat folds down. A 6-foot-tall man can sleep inside comfortably with another mattress. There's plenty of room to spread out, haul all your gear. The vehicle is capable of towing, so you can tow a travel trailer. So what's it like to drive? The beginning of this particular drive, it's a full pedal run, up to 70 miles an hour. Right there. You can't hear the diesel rattle from inside the truck when you're driving. This is the beginning of Lolo Pass. This is on US 12 headed west into Idaho. We're still on the Montana side, a few miles from the top of the pass. This pass is mostly a 6% grade for several miles. If you were able to corner at 50 miles an hour or above, it would never drop out of overdrive. It would stay in overdrive the whole way. It's one of the beauties of a diesel is the torque. If you compare this to say a Chevy Tahoe with a gas small block engine in it, the small block is shifting down all the time to maintain speed. A diesel doesn't need to do that. It'll stay in overdrive. Here it's in overdrive. We're doing about 70. It does it effortlessly. Our 6.5-liter diesel books are jam-packed with important articles, tech columns, and product reviews that were published by the Diesel Page between 1996 and the present. We cherry-picked all of the very best articles written and published throughout that period and put them into the books you see here. Written by enthusiasts for enthusiasts, this is a great collection of 6.5-liter turbo diesel and vehicle-related information. We provide coverage for all 1992 to 2000 model year 6.5-liter diesels that were manufactured by General Motors. These beautifully printed and perfectly bound full-size 8.5 by 11 volumes include articles that cover the basics: performance, maintenance, modification, and service. Information that will help you improve your 6.5's performance and help you discover the very best service procedures will never go out of date. We don't sell any of the products discussed in these volumes, nor were we paid to include any product discussions, so you'll know you're getting only the best and most unbiased information possible. Our mission here has always been to help GM 6.5-liter diesel owners achieve the very best results. A link will appear in the description below that'll take you to our books page. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and let me know in the comments what you'd like to see in the next video. See you next time.